Well, good morning from wet, windy, miserable Aizu. That's not to say that Aizu is miserable. The weather certainly is. Unfortunately, this is the third and last full day in Aizu. And for all 3 of the days, I've had rain. So my plan for renting a bike and going to the lake today is completely gone out the window. I was doing a little look around on Google Maps earlier, and I said, right, look, what looks interesting? So heading to a little graveyard at the base of the mountain. I'll explain a bit more when I get there, but I think it might actually be quite nice to walk up. I don't think it's very far. I got my coffee, so I'm really ready to go now. It's a straight run all the way up this road. So this morning didn't do an awful lot in the guest house. Just did a bit of laundry, got that stuff sorted. I leave here tomorrow about 10 a.m. so it's a shame. I think Aizu would be really lovely if the weather was good, but it's just the time of the year that I'm here. April is still, and there's no guarantees about any good weather. Anyway, look, I might come back here eventually if I'm back in this region of Japan. So tomorrow at about 10 a.m. check out my hostel, and I'll head down to the bus station. I haven't reserved a ticket, you're not able to, they're all unreserved seats, but I'm going to get the bus to Fukushima City. There was a couple of options apart from there, a little bit further south of there, more in this region still, but for moving on then I'll be moving on to Sendai. So Fukushima is, yeah, it's probably the best option to get to first before I move on. If the weather had been better I could have went over to the coast, but in Fukushima the weather will be okay over the next few days, and then when I go up to Sendai the weather is actually going to be pretty good, relatively sunny, not an awful lot of rain, so I'm hoping it stays that way. You know how quick the weather can change. I'm only staying for 2 nights in Fukushima. Now if I'd been staying a little bit longer, there's a couple of towns on the coast that I wanted to go to that were mostly abandoned. I'm sure you've seen when about 14 or 15 years ago the Fukushima suffered the earthquake, and then the nuclear reactor was damaged, which caused an awful lot of problems. So a lot of the towns were evacuated there. Not many people have moved back into them. So that would have been quite interesting to go to. Don't think I'll get to go to one of them. It takes a good while from Fukushima, and then like travelling back then the same day. It's a long journey, you know, changing trains a few times each way. So, but never say never. It's always a possibility. Not promising anything though. And while I think of it, I have to give 7-Eleven credit. The coffee was actually pretty damn good. Strong enough, not as strong as I'd usually have it, but it's stronger than what I've been getting most of the day. So just walking towards the graveyard and I came across this. I don't know what it is. Might be an old type of building. Wow, very nice, isn't it? So it's like an old traditional workshop. It's pretty cool, right? Very cool. Anyway, back to the rain. Very cool. And one of the things that I really love about walking around Japan is the houses. As you walk, there's no kind of uniform structure to the houses, you know. Everything's different, and it gives it a bit of charm. Like you're walking down, sometimes there's a pretty modern looking kind of house, And then right next to it you've got this little traditional one that hasn't really changed in God knows how long, 100 years or more, you know. It's lovely when you're walking down. It just changes it up when you're going around. It's not kind of the same old, like at home where you've got these house estates that are, you know, every house looks the exact same. The only way you can tell the difference is the number on the front door, but here everything is just that bit different, you know. It just changes. I don't know, it's probably just me, but I like it anyway. Just gives them all a bit of a charm. I was just thinking to myself there, you know, I think a lot of people, including myself before I came to Japan the first time, you have this idea that Japan's very expensive, and it can be. Specifically, transport can be a bit dear, but it's really as cheap or as expensive as you want to make it. You know, you can splash out on luxury things when you're here, and you can do the budget things, or you can just do a mix of them. Do budget and then treat yourself a few times, but really it's not as expensive as you think. Like that 7-Eleven coffee, the large one I got, and it was nice, you know, plenty in it, and that was 250 yen. Now we know it's not the same as going and sitting down in a cafe, but I'm just saying that's €1.50 like for a coffee. You wouldn't get that at home. You can't get $1.50 coffee at home anywhere, I don't think, especially for a large one. So, you know, the idea that Japan is very expensive is, it's not always true. Some things are very expensive and some things are very cheap. Like for example, food can be cheap if you want to be, but I think the price you pay for the quality you get, no matter what food you get, the quality is pretty good. So there is a bit of a standard there, you know. So just letting you know, in case you do think you're going to Japan and you're worried about the cost, not always that expensive. Well, I took a side track and there's another temple this way and a waterfall, but man, that road doesn't look great. I don't have any trekking shoes or anything, but I'll try it out. It might be just mostly stone that's glistening, it might not be muddy. Alright, so far so good. Let's see how far I get. Check it out, there's a little shrine. I can't really get down there though with the weather. Way too slippy to go down with all the leaves. Ah man, that's a shame. Damn. No, it's too bad. There's no way, like it's full of leaves and they're soaked and mucky. Ah. Damn. Looks nice though, look. Real peaceful, imagine there. Oh, lovely. All the moss growing over the lanterns and the rocks. No, I tried. Can't do it. If I get down there, I'd never get back up. Damn, it's a shame. That's the only reason I took a detour. There's a tree down up ahead as well. That's not great. Hope there's no bears. Have the gods blessed me? Okay, so this is the Aizuwakamatsu. It's of course it's a shrine, but this is where soldiers used to come before war and pray. The belief that it would bless them going into battle. Oh, what a privilege. Let's go, shall we? Isn't that just incredible? Man. You know, I'm not a religious person at all, but when you come somewhere like this, it gives you a little bit of like an inner warmth, you know? Wow. Incredible. It's a privilege to be standing here. What do you think of that? Man, that's incredible. I'm so glad I diverted. I still haven't gotten to the graveyard that I wanted to go to, but when I was looking at what turn to take on the map, I happened to notice this like a street branching off. So I followed it along and zoomed in, and it said there was a waterfall here. And I didn't know until I got a little bit further that it was a temple as well. Or shrine, should I say. It's not a temple. Oh. So lucky to have done that. See, this is what I mean. You don't always have to follow an exact guide. Just go with the flow. Oh, man. Now I'm coming up to the place that I planned on visiting from this morning. It's the tomb and the grave site of the Byakutai, which is also known as the White Tiger Forces. They were a force that fought with the shogunate of the area against the Meiji forces. And during one of the battles, a group of them got split up from their troop. So they escaped and they came to the foot of the hill, Mount Lemori. And they got up here, banded together, and they looked down the hill here at Tsugaura Castle, which is the castle I was at yesterday. And they saw black smoke coming up from it, rising high, and they thought, well, that's it. Our lord's dead, our families are dead, we've lost the battle. And to keep from the shame of being captured by their enemy forces, 20 of them in this spot killed themselves. One didn't succeed, and he lived until an old age, but they were only 18, 17 years old. And the worst part of it is, the castle hadn't fallen at that time. It was the city around the castle that had been burning. The Meiji forces hadn't made it into the castle yet. And even after the Boshin Civil War was finished, the bodies were still here. They were left here by the orders of the Meiji forces to leave them to the elements. But one man came across it and buried them at a temporary shrine nearby. He was arrested, but his story brought forward volunteers, and together in 1900 they buried the remains of the Byakutai. It's pretty sad when you think of it. Only 16, 17 years old. Only kids really. And this is their grave sign. There's a little old lady that had a little shop at the bottom of the stairs. She was making these. I don't know what they are, but they smelled very nice. So I said, yeah, I'll get one of them. So here we go. Well, judging by the texture of it, when I'm unpacking it, it's definitely rice flour. Sweet red bean inside. Oh, that was refreshing. And it's not overly sweet. Sometimes you get them and they're very sweet. That's lovely. 10 out of 10. Oh, I could back and buy another one. But there's a big queue, but I'm not going to do that. But still, I was tempted. Very good. Oh my god. And she's just making trays of them, and she's making in the background. I had to wait, like she didn't even notice me. She was in baking them. So, oh, really nice, really lovely flavour. Pretty happy with how the journey turned out today, to be honest. With the weather starting off so bad, I wasn't expecting much, you know. I was kind of thinking, oh, here we go, I'm going to be stuck in the guest house. But no, I'm glad I found that bloody temple at the waterfall, at the shrine at the waterfall. So that made me day, to be honest. Lovely. Especially when no one's there, like no crowds of tourists. It makes a huge difference. I know I'm a tourist, but still, I don't want others to be there at the same time. And then it was really nice to be up there reading about the white tiger forces. It was very interesting. Nice little walk around that area as well before you get to the graveyard. But topped it off was that little rice flour red bean thing. Oh man, still taste it. I can't. It was so nice. You know, I was thinking there to myself. I said, Jesus, the sun is coming out now. Why couldn't it do that earlier when I was heading up there? But sure, when you think of it, if it had been sunny the last day or two and it wasn't raining when I went up there, maybe that waterfall wouldn't have been flowing as much as it was. Probably been only trickling. So, you know, probably worked out for the best the way it did. I had my umbrella anyway, so it wasn't too bad. But just, you know, it makes the place look a bit colder, and you know what I mean. But well, maybe it worked out for the best in the end. A few noisy birds. So successful, that's the main thing. I'm glad I got to see a bit more on the last day of my trip in Aizu. Tomorrow I head to Fukushima, as I said, then on to Sendai, or else after Fukushima I might find somewhere else before I get to Sendai, but we'll see. I'm all rested up. I'm gonna head over there. That's the place I was saying that I might get me dinner, so I'll see. It's only, I think there's only a table for about 4 people, so we'll see how it is. But if it's too busy, I'll figure something out anyway. I'm not gonna lie, that was the best dinner I've had in Japan. It was incredible. Everything about it was gorgeous. It was so tasty, and I'm stuffed. Brilliant, and it's a real nice, like, little atmosphere, real old-fashioned, real nice. So it's just a shame that I only tried it the last night here. If I'd have tried that last night, I would have went there again today. Oh, bloody gorgeous. So back at the guest house now. Gonna just pack up my things, get ready for tomorrow. Get the bus about just before 11 tomorrow, and I'm there about 1, something like that. It's only about a 2-hour journey, so catch you tomorrow.